What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here, and welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, daily news, what's going on in Washington, D.C., what's going on in the United States, and what is going on with the next stimulus package, the $3.5 trillion stimulus package that is being worked on right now in the U.S. House of Representatives. Nancy Pelosi, the leader of the House of Representatives, the House Speaker, is trying to get a initial vote going on in the House of Representatives right now on the House floor. We're going to be talking about that, the details of that, as well as several different stimulus items to talk about, a social security item or two to talk about for this next stimulus package. Actually, some kind of interesting news going on with Social Security and stimulus items, as well as child tax credits and the next stimulus package. Several different things to discuss with you guys in this video. Remember, new videos come out here on our channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't yet. It's completely free to do so. Let's jump right in because we got a lot to cover. Okay, number one, we have an article here. You can see here, read the stimulus check update from the IRS right now. At this point, we are almost halfway at the halfway mark in the federal government's distribution of the 6-check series of the child tax credit payment. This payment being new stimulus checks of sorts and which stem from the third stimulus check payment. Meanwhile, the IRS over the weekend shared an important update that the child tax credit payment recipients, and there are several million of you that might want to take note of. Basically, it involves an update to the online child tax credit portal. An update that those of you who are receiving these payments as paper checks in the mail need to know about. Also, as a quick reminder, the August payments went out in the mail by accident to millions of people, even if you're on direct deposit. So if you didn't receive your August payment, you could still be receiving it in the mail. And I know I've seen thousands of comments from people that said they got their August child tax credit payment in the mail by accident because, well, the IRS messed it up. Remember, 65 million people, 65 million children receive these child tax credit payments on a monthly basis. So it's a lot of people, a lot of children. Of course, the checks don't actually go to the children, they go to the parents who claim them on the most recent tax return. So 65 million checks go out on a monthly basis, okay? Well, they messed up the most recent one, and honestly, on any given month, they could mess up any amount of checks. So please just keep that in mind. Quote, the IRS has launched a new feature allowing any family receiving the monthly child tax credit payments to quickly and easily update their mailing address using the Child Tax Credit Update portal, the update notes. This feature will help any family that chooses to receive their payment by paper check avoid mailing delays or even having a check returned as undeliverable. Now note that even if you're on direct deposit, you might want to consider this because remember that many families, and you guys can attest to this in the comments, please comment down below if you received your August payment via paper check, even though you were set up via direct deposit. How many people got their August child tax credit check in the mail via paper check, even though you got your July check via direct deposit? Yeah, the IRS works in mysterious ways, and if they have an error, well, yeah. So if you need to update your address, your physical address, well, they now have a tool to do this. I will put a link in the description of this video for you guys to go to the IRS's website to do this. Okay, if you've never logged into the child tax credit portal, it might be a little bit of a process to do this, but you also can check your payments, your eligibility status, but it's a little bit of a process because they try to make it as secure as possible. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Any family can have their September check and all future checks, the update continues, sent to their new address by using the portal to make an address change request. In order for the change to take effect in September, though, the clock is ticking. You got to give them time to do this. People will need to complete their request before midnight Eastern Time on Monday, August 30th. Families can still make the change after that date, but the payment will not be effective until the next month. The IRS also says since we're almost halfway through the child tax credit, the IRS says it will mail out a year-end summary to all taxpayers who get these checks. Also, if we get an adult tax credit that works similarly, these points will be interesting to know if we get an adult tax credit that works similarly as well in the future. Which again is all the more reason to have the right address on file with the tax agency is important. Families will need letter 6419 to accurately fill out their 2021 federal income tax return next year. This is important because for most families, the advance payments they're receiving during 2021 only cover half of the total credit. They will claim the remaining portion on their 2021 tax return. Bernie Sanders says in a tweet, "We are going to tax the wealth of these billionaires with the budget reconciliation legislation, aka the next stimulus package, the $3.5 trillion package that they are working on right now. We are going to invest in the needs of the working class of this country. Trust me, I wrote the damn bill." This is actually good news because, as I've suspected, again, I kind of have my finger on the pulse of what's going on. They've been writing this bill in the background. Okay. They can't fully release the bill because they're kind of going through the negotiation stages of this right now. But largely, as I've suspected, that they probably have a large portion of this bill written in the background. But as they go through the final negotiation stages with the Democrats, because remember, the Democrats are going to be passing this bill without Republicans, they'll probably need to tweak things as they add in or subtract things at the very last moment. He also shows an article here that says, breaking, America's 708 billionaires are now worth $4.8 trillion after gaining $1.8 trillion, up 62% during the pandemic alone. That wealth growth alone could pay for over half of the Democrats' $3.5 trillion budget plan. Don't tell us we can't afford to invest in working families. And he shows the growth, the net worth growth of the top 10 billionaires. The problem with taxing the billionaires is that the vast majority of their growth is in stock growth. And if they don't sell their stocks, there's no taxable income. If Jeff Bezos' Amazon stock goes up by 50% and he gains $50 billion, there's nothing taxable to tax him until he sells it. There's no taxable gain until he sells it. So that's just kind of how taxes work, just because I understand this. So yeah. So if Elon Musk, if his Tesla stock goes up by 600% in 17 months, unless he sells the Tesla stock, there's no taxable transaction there to tax the Tesla stock. So I don't know what they're planning to do here. They do plan to tax the corporations on their earnings more, but to tax the billionaires themselves, a lot of their net worth is in the actual stock that they own. But the problem is the billionaires don't sell the stocks because they don't need the money because they already have billions of dollars. So they don't really sell their stock. So that's the problem with taxing the individual billionaires themselves. Okay, next, let's move to an interesting clip I seen that describes the process of what they are going through right now on the U.S. House of Representatives as they're kind of jockeying or negotiating between the Democrats themselves for a initial vote on the U.S. House of Representatives. Check this out. Very interesting.
Let's go straight to Ali Vitale on Capitol Hill. Also with us, Punchbowl News co-founder John Bresnahan. So, Ali, we do know that Speaker Pelosi spoke to some of those moderates. What did she tell them? When might we expect a vote? Give us the latest.
Yeah, Chris, Congressman Jim Clyburn walking into a meeting of the Democratic caucus just this morning said that the thing to expect today is cooperation. That definitely wasn't the vibe here yesterday and last night, though, as lawmakers hashed this out really for the first time behind the scenes at the same time that they were already supposed to be voting on this procedural rules vote. Really what has happened here, lawmakers walking into the caucus meeting right now, effectively waiting for their marching orders. So I'm going to keep an eye on my text messages as we see and hear from more of them, because right now in real time, they're meeting behind closed doors with Speaker Nancy Pelosi. And while Clyburn uses words like cooperation and Steny Hoyer has said that we can expect positive news, at the same time, there is no finalized deal, at least not yet. The stunning thing about this is that these 9 moderates who added a 10th to their ranks yesterday, and Stephanie Murphy from Florida, they have been making these demands that they want to see the bipartisan infrastructure bill that's already passed the Senate before the House contends with the budget resolution for that larger $3.5 trillion bill. These demands aren't new. The reality, though, on the ground is that leadership here didn't actually start negotiating with this group of moderates until last night, which has really pushed the process far back in the timeline, further back than they thought that they wanted it to go. The goal, though, still is to vote on this rule sometime today and to finish up their business, ideally by tonight. At the same time, though, they're really up against the clock of their own making. And so if this thing continues to stretch on, that could very well be the reality. It's also not the only thing happening here on the Hill. Lawmakers who are back in D.C. are going to have a bipartisan, in-person classified briefing on Afghanistan. That's also happening today. We're going to hear from Republican and Democratic lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. That could give us a sense of what we can expect and the kind of opposition that the White House could face on this. And then also don't forget that in the policy pushes that they're trying to accomplish over the course of today, also voting rights. So a lot on the agenda here, Chris.
All right. So, John, Punch Bowl this morning, as always, informative, but also blunt. Let me read from it. Quote, Monday was a bad day for Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Monday was a bad day for a group of moderate House Democrats looking to flex their muscles over Joe Biden's agenda. Monday was a mostly useless day for the House of Representatives and foreshadows some longer-term problems for the Democratic power centers in the institution. So now that it's Tuesday, now what?
Yeah, we're going to, just like Allie just set up, we're going to play it again today. They're going to see if they can get a deal. I mean, eventually they will get an agreement. It's just how far, what kind of concessions does Pelosi have to make to these moderates? And then remember, every concession she makes to the moderates, her left, her progressives get pissed off.
Did she underestimate the resolve of the moderates, John?
I think so. I think I think a lot of the leadership thought that they would eventually fold. They have in the past. They didn't in this case.
Yeah, so here is a live feed from the U.S. House of Representatives. They are on the floor right now debating as they're trying to convince the now 10 group of moderate Democrats to basically proceed with the stimulus package first. So this is a very, very big deal. Very, very big deal because, again, they're basically trying to convince these 9 or now 10 group of Democrats to vote on the $3.5 trillion stimulus package first before the $1.2 trillion stimulus or infrastructure package in the House of Representatives. So if they can do that, they will be voting with the motion to proceed, which, again, it's just the motion to proceed, but it's actually a very, very big vote because that will start the entire voting process in the House before the infrastructure process. So once that ball gets rolling, that means, hey, the entire $3.5 trillion stimulus package, that entire process will go before the infrastructure package in the House. Again, this is a live feed from the U.S. House of Representatives. So I will keep you up to date on this. As I said, it's going to be a very big week in the U.S. House of Representatives. Also wanted to let you know about an interesting story I found from a viewer who emailed this to me. Walker Runnels, thank you so much. Social Security expands compassionate allowances programs for people with severe disabilities. Thank you so much for emailing me this. I wanted to let you guys know about this. They are working on several different Social Security expansion programs right now and considering several more for this next stimulus package and in the future, even whatever doesn't make it into this next stimulus package, for packages after this. Because remember, after this next stimulus package, they're going to be passing more stimulus packages even after this next package up until the next election in November 2022. So yeah, you can see here this guy, who I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, Acting Commissioner of Social Security today announced, this was actually a few days old, announced 12 new compassionate allowances conditions with all these different medical conditions that you can read here on the screen. Compassionate allowances is an initiative that quickly identifies severe medical conditions and diseases that meet Social Security standards for disability benefits. So these are new compassionate allowance conditions for Social Security disability benefits. Everybody who is eligible for, you can pause the screen if you want to see these, if they might pertain to you. Everybody who is eligible for benefits under the programs we administer should receive them, said Acting Commissioner, Social Security Commissioner. Our compassionate allowance programs helps us address barriers by helping accelerate the disability applications for process for people who are likely to get approved for benefits due to the severity of their medical condition. The Compassionate Allowances Program quickly identified claims where the applicant's condition or disease clearly meets Social Security's statutory standard for disability. Due to the severe nature of many of these conditions, these claims are often allowed based on medical confirmation or the diagnosis alone. To date, more than 700,000 people with severe disabilities have been approved through this accelerated policy compliant disability process, to which has grown more than total of 254 conditions. So yeah, basically Social Security is expanding the compassionate allowances program for people with severe disabilities. I thought I would let you guys know this as Social Security is expanding this and also considering several more expansions of the Social Security program. This is just one article I have seen lately. I will be having more for you guys in upcoming episodes. Yeah, so let me know your thoughts. Like I said, there is a lot going on. I actually really have a lot of articles and a lot of different things to discuss with you guys. I can really only fit so much into each article or into each video, and I try to keep them under a certain amount of time. I really have so much to discuss with you guys, and as I said, there's really so much going on with it. Afghanistan, with the House of Representatives and the Senate, and with the vaccine, the mandates, Pfizer, FDA approved just, well, when was it? Just yesterday. And really new virus cases just out of this world at this point. There is just an absolute amazing amount of stuff going on in our country right now. I have so much to talk about. I literally can't even fit it all in. I have to pick and choose my battles on what to talk about right now because it's just amazing. I could do 10 shows a day if I really wanted to. So I really have to take like the most like important things to talk about with you guys because it's insane right now how much is going on with our country in the middle of this pandemic, which is getting worse. It's actually getting worse right now. We have like 4 times more positive people testing positive than a year ago at this point. If you take a day, take today's date and look at it a year ago today, we have like 4 times more positive cases. And this is with over 70% of the United States being vaccinated with at least one shot and over 60% of the United States being fully vaccinated. So yeah, it's just an absolute crazy time right now. It's just, it's insane. So yeah, there's a lot going on. Remember, new videos come out here on our channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'll bring you guys the most important news. Like I said, I'm literally picking and choosing my battles on what to report to you guys because there's just so much to talk about. And with the House of Representatives being back in session, last week it was the Senate working on the stimulus package. Now it's the House, and the House is probably going to be voting on it maybe tonight. The biggest thing is the negotiation process on if they can get these 10 moderate Democrats to agree. I think as soon as they get them to agree, they're going to go right into the voting process. So I will keep you up to date with everything. Don't miss any videos at this point. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video is how there can be a 4,000 or 8,000 adult check in the next stimulus package. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.